Archangel Michael is preparing something you're not supposed to see, until tonight. The hidden preparation. God says, if you could see what heaven is setting in motion tonight, you would not worry about what was delayed today. The night has arrived heavy with silence. The sky seems ordinary, but heaven is not resting. Archangel Michael moves unseen across realms, arranging something that human eyes are not yet permitted to witness. Every delay, every closed door, every unanswered prayer is part of the pattern he is shaping. You have felt restlessness all day, a pull in your spirit you cannot explain, because your name has just been spoken in the high places. What is being prepared for you is not punishment, it is positioning. There are papers on earth still unsigned, but they are already stamped in heaven. There are words people spoke against you that will soon dissolve like smoke. Michael has been commanded to alter what was meant to harm you. And though the world sleeps, the angels do not. Tonight, realms are shifting quietly in your favor. You might feel uneasy, that trembling before breakthrough that makes no sense. That's because your spirit recognizes movement your mind cannot see. Heaven is making final adjustments. Destinies rarely arrive fully formed, they are built in the silence before dawn. Michael stands before a gate made of light, sword lowered, waiting for the signal. The moment your faith outweighs your fear, the gate will open. He is guarding the blueprint of your next season, instructions only heaven can read. Those who doubted your rise will soon watch doors open without keys, blessings flow without effort. The things you lost were never denial, they were redirection. God says, do not chase what left, stand where light returns. I am not hiding the promise, I am protecting it until it is ready. The clock strikes midnight. Somewhere deep in the unseen, the sound of armor echoes, not for war, but for release. Archangel Michael turns, looks toward the earth, and smiles. It begins, he whispers. And though you cannot see it, heaven's preparation has already entered motion. The veil begins to lift. God says, what was hidden for your protection will soon be revealed for your confirmation. The city lies asleep, yet the atmosphere hums with quiet electricity. You sense it before you see it, the faint shiver in the air when heaven begins to move through ordinary time. Michael walks unseen along the threads that connect one choice to another, touching each moment with deliberate precision. He does not rush, divine timing never does. Every pause is placement. You wake suddenly, not in fear but in awareness. The room feels charged, brighter though no lamp burns. A soft vibration moves through the air, the sound of something unseen aligning. It is the veil thinning between what you prayed for and what is about to appear. Michael's voice drifts like wind through water. Tonight is not about vision, it's about readiness. The answer cannot arrive to a fearful heart. Breathe. You obey, and the air steadies. Peace fills the corners of your chest where anxiety used to live. You realize that peace itself is the signal heaven was waiting for. Outside, clouds part without sound. Stars pierce the sky, thousands of tiny witnesses. Each one reflects a completed promise somewhere in the world. Michael raises his hand, and light ripples outward, messages delivered, obstacles softened, hearts awakened to courage. People you've never met feel sudden conviction to do right by you, doors you stopped knocking on begin to open. In the unseen, ledgers change. The plan meant to delay you loses power, the blessing postponed finds a path. You feel it not as noise but as clarity. Thoughts align. Peace replaces confusion. Grace begins to organize your tomorrow while you are still standing in tonight. God says, I am rewriting what they wrote in haste. You will not enter through struggle. You will enter through favor. The veil was never a barrier, it was a curtain I drew to build the stage. You step to the window. Wind rushes past, carrying warmth instead of chill. Somewhere beyond sight, Michael lowers his sword point to the ground. The metal meets earth with a tone that rings through realms, a sound you feel in your bones. Everything meant to stay hidden trembles under that vibration. Truth begins to surface gently, like dawn through fog. You realize that the unveiling has begun. What was whispered in secret will surface as testimony, not as exposure. The same heaven that once fought for your survival now fights for your revelation. God says, rest tonight, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. Michael turns once more toward the horizon, watching light crawl over it like liquid gold. The veil lifts another inch. You cannot see the full picture yet, but the first rays of your new season have already touched your face. The unfolding of the sign. God says, when I move, it is not always through thunder. Sometimes, it begins with a whisper that rearranges worlds. Morning crawls in softly, thin rays of sunlight slipping between the curtains like quiet visitors. The air feels different, lighter, charged, almost humming. You don't know why you woke so early, but you sense the pull. The stillness doesn't feel empty anymore, it feels full, like something waiting to speak. The night before, Archangel Michael had been moving through the unseen, sealing alignments, closing portals of confusion, securing what heaven had declared ready. Now, that movement begins to translate into your world. What was invisible last night starts to leave fingerprints across your morning. The first sign arrives quietly. Your phone buzzes, a message you didn't expect, from someone who had been silent for months. No apology, just a sudden warmth in their words. I've been thinking about what we said. I understand now. You reread the message twice. It doesn't sound like them, it sounds guided. Heaven has started softening hearts. Outside, clouds scatter as if pushed from within. Birds circle higher than usual. The city hums faintly, carrying a rhythm that feels familiar, like the same pulse that once comforted you in prayer. Michael's presence lingers in this rhythm, not visible, but everywhere. He stands above the day like a guardian conductor, guiding every detail into divine sync. Traffic lights turn green just as you approach. You arrive at places exactly on time without trying. People you thought were lost suddenly appear again, but this time with purpose instead of pain. Heaven is orchestrating timing so perfect it feels accidental. But it's not. It's alignment, prophecy hidden inside ordinary life. By midday, your spirit grows stiller. You find yourself pausing to listen, not with ears but with awareness. Something deep inside whispers, watch how the day ends. You nod inwardly. Faith feels natural now, not forced, not loud, like breathing. Meanwhile, unseen, Michael stands at the gates of transition. He inspects what was prepared. Before him lies a scroll of light, your timeline. On it are words written by heaven's decree, everything stolen will return multiplied. Every delay was disguised acceleration. He runs his hand across the scroll, and the words ignite. Around you, momentum builds. Calls are returned. Payments delayed begin to process. Emails you forgot about reopen. The path that felt blocked yesterday clears itself without your touch. This is what divine preparation looks like when it manifests, no drama, just order. Heaven doesn't need spectacle to prove its power, it proves it through precision. God says, see how I move. Quietly. Efficiently. By the time they notice, it is already done. By evening, golden light fills the sky. The world looks softer, edges blurred by peace. You sit near your window again, watching the sun dip lower. The same warmth from last night returns, stronger, wrapping around you like unseen arms. A still voice rises inside you, it's begun. And in that instant, you realize something, the breakthrough doesn't always arrive as a roar. Sometimes, it arrives as recognition, the quiet knowing that heaven kept its word. You exhale, smiling. Michael's silhouette flashes briefly in the reflection of the glass, calm, victorious, present. God says, what I prepared, you will walk into without effort. The night was for building, the day is for receiving. Far above, the angel turns, satisfied. The sign has unfolded. What was hidden is now alive in motion, and nothing, no force, no fear, no delay, can stop what heaven has already released. The hour of revelation. God says, I do not reveal to embarrass, I reveal to align. Every truth I uncover restores what fear tried to hide. Evening descends like a veil of amber. The city glows beneath clouds streaked with gold, and the hush before night feels holy. You sense it, the turning point. The stillness is no longer waiting, it is inviting. What was prepared in secrecy now begins to unfold in sight. You sit quietly, every muscle aware yet calm. There's a hum behind the silence, a vibration that feels alive. It isn't sound, it's movement, heaven rearranging the invisible architecture of your story. You whisper, I'm listening. The air thickens, not with heat but with presence. A single beam of pale light slides across the floor, widening until it shapes a figure. Archangel Michael steps forward, not blazing with fire this time, but radiant with composure. The weight of eternity seems folded into his calm. He carries no sword, he carries understanding. You have waited well, he says. And waiting has become your witness. What you call delay was heaven rewriting the script so that truth could enter without resistance. You want to speak, but your voice catches. He gestures toward the window, and scenes shimmer in the glass, moments from the past, arguments, doubts, losses, each one now surrounded by light. Look, Michael continues. Every piece that hurt you is being repositioned. None of it was wasted. Heaven keeps no fragments unused. As you watch, the scenes begin to merge into one image, a door made of light. Inside it flickers a silhouette, your future, luminous and waiting. This, the angel says, is why tonight mattered. Had it opened sooner, you would have entered half ready and half afraid. But patience forged the key. He raises his hand, the door dissolves into brightness that pours through the room. It doesn't blind, it clarifies. Every unanswered question you carried begins to loosen. You realize that revelation isn't information, it's recognition. You aren't learning new facts, you're remembering old faith. God says, when I reveal, I don't explain the plan, I let you feel my peace about it. Tears rise, soft and clean. You understand now that heaven never abandoned you, it rearranged you. The disappointments were detours, the silence was strategy, the losses were layers removed so light could reach deeper. Michael steps closer, voice low and kind. Your tomorrow has already noticed you. Walk toward it slowly, it's built on the rhythm you learned tonight. He turns, the glow of his form fading into the dim. Only his last words linger, truth no longer hides. Walk in it. Outside, the wind shifts again. Somewhere distant, church bells ring, 3 clear notes that seem to seal the hour. You exhale, not in relief but in reverence. The revelation has come, not as thunder but as clarity. What was hidden was holy, what was delayed was divine timing, what was lost was simply being prepared to return whole. God says, this is your hour. Not the hour of exposure, but of explanation. What you see now will never unsee you. The night glows softly, as if heaven itself left the light on. The gift of clarity. God says, clarity is not new sight, it is clean sight. I am not adding to your vision, I am washing what was clouded. The night that began in mystery now feels weightless. When you wake, the air itself seems organized. Everything that once felt random aligns quietly, thoughts in sequence, emotions balanced, steps purposeful. This is what revelation leaves behind, order in the soul. You move through the morning without haste. No thunder follows you, no visible miracle greets you, and yet the world bends softly around your peace. Where you once reacted, you now respond. Where you once guessed, you now know. The knowing is gentle, not arrogant, the kind of wisdom that glows instead of shouts. Archangel Michael walks unseen beside you, his presence now subtle as heartbeat. He no longer needs to guard, he only guides. Clarity, he says, is heaven's reward for endurance. When truth enters, confusion loses permission to speak. You glance around, people who once drained your energy now appear smaller, almost transparent. Not because they changed, but because you did. The lens through which you view them is clean. You realize that forgiveness is the strongest filter in existence, it sharpens vision without hardening heart. At work, conversations that used to frustrate you become effortless. You hear what others truly mean instead of what their fear projects. It is as if heaven has tuned your ears to mercy. Even silence feels friendly. This, you understand, is the hidden advantage of clarity. It doesn't control events, it composes them. Later, as you walk home, wind moves through trees in rhythmic waves. You sense the angel's voice in the rustling leaves. This is what peace sounds like when it breathes through the ordinary. You pause, smiling. For the first time, gratitude no longer requires effort, it simply happens. That evening you light a single candle and watch its steady flame. Memories flicker through your mind, the waiting, the warnings, the battles. All of it converges into one understanding: heaven never made you wait for answers, heaven waited for you to quiet enough to hear them. God says, when your heart stops chasing noise, wisdom finds its voice. You whisper, then let me stay this clear. The air stirs once, warm and sure. Michael's response feels more like assurance than speech: you will, because clarity maintained is worship lived. Outside, night gathers again, but this time it feels friendly. Streetlights shimmer like patient stars, and every shadow seems to carry meaning instead of menace. You realize the greatest miracle isn't that the storm ended, it's that your vision remained open after it did. God says, keep walking in this light. You are no longer seeking signs, you are one. And so you move forward, quiet, luminous, certain, carrying the calm intelligence of heaven wherever you go. The path of peace. God says, I do not send peace as decoration, I send it as direction. Wherever you carry calm, chaos loses its command. The morning opens wide and weightless, light spilling across rooftops like spilled mercy. The storm that once defined your story has long dissolved, but something new now hums beneath every ordinary sound. It is the vibration of peace, steady, steady, alive. You step into the street and the air seems to listen. Every breath feels shared with something greater. People pass by, and though you say nothing, their shoulders relax as they near you. This is how heaven works through those who have been healed, influenced through presence, not pressure. Archangel Michael walks with you unseen, his wings drawn close, his expression a quiet pride. The battle changed your rhythm, he says. You are no longer reacting to the world is now reacting to you. Every step you take teaches balance. You notice it during small errands, a cashier's frown softening, a stranger returning a smile, laughter starting where moments earlier there was tension. Peace is contagious when it is authentic. You remember Michael's words from nights before: heaven does not shout, it resonates. Now you see what he meant. At work, you begin to sense the undercurrents in people's voices. Where anxiety hides, your tone calms it. Where confusion circles, your clarity interrupts. You stop offering advice and start asking gentle questions. The answers people find on their own last longer. It feels less like effort and more like alignment. Michael moves silently behind every conversation. This, he whispers, is the path of peace, not escape from the world, but redemption within it. In the evenings, you walk to the edge of town where a small hill overlooks everything. The sky stretches wide and unbroken. You speak softly into the open air, words that are more gratitude than prayer. The breeze carries them upward, the city below seems to breathe easier. Energy shifts. Lives adjust. Heaven uses peace as infrastructure, unseen yet essential. Weeks pass. People begin coming to you, not for miracles, but for meaning. A friend who once doubted faith asks how you stay so calm when things fall apart. You smile. Because I stopped needing to know how God will do it, I just trust that He is. The simplicity disarms them. The ripple widens. Michael stands upon the hill one evening, looking down at the quiet web of light, every home where peace now flickers because you passed through. It's happening, he says. The same stillness that once saved you is becoming their sanctuary. You feel it too. The city's atmosphere has shifted. Where there was argument, now there is understanding. Where there was fear, now there is patience. You realize that heaven's greatest victory isn't in storms defeated but in hearts softened. Peace is not passive. It is the most active force in creation. God says, "You thought I restored you to rest. I restored you to reign, not over people, but over reaction." The lesson deepens. When rumors rise, you stay silent. When others panic, you breathe. Each moment becomes a sermon without words. You begin to understand what Michael meant by path. It's not a route you travel, it's a rhythm you become. One night, the angel appears again, standing beneath the starlight. His armor gleams faintly, but there's softness in his eyes. Peace is the highest warfare, he says. It disarms chaos without injury. It confuses darkness because it cannot imitate calm. He points toward the horizon where dawn is forming. Do you see that line between dark and light? That's where I walk, and now, so do you. The wind rises gently, carrying the scent of earth and promise. From this day, Michael continues, your presence will remind others that heaven still intervenes through human hands. You will not need title or stage. Your peace will preach. You close your eyes, and something inside settles into place, the final alignment between purpose and patience. For the first time, you don't feel like a survivor. You feel like a vessel. The peace you carry is not fragile anymore, it's a flame that knows its purpose. God says, walk slowly. The ground remembers your gratitude. You smile, turning toward the city, ready to step back into its rhythm. The world hasn't changed much, but you have, and that changes everything. The sky behind you brightens to a soft gold. Michael lifts his sword, touches it to the air, and a thin line of light follows your path as you walk. It doesn't fade. It expands, a glowing trail of calm stretching behind you like proof that peace travels farther than words ever could. The rise of the light-bearers. God says, peace is a seed I never plant in one field. When it flowers in you, it is already taking root in others. The city no longer feels like a maze, it feels like a map. Streets you once hurried through now look like lines in a living manuscript, and every step you take reads like a sentence heaven is still writing.